Me. I wasn't even there when this entire plot was fabricated. I was on my way to my apartment downtown, a property I owned. As I approached, I noticed a swarm of police cars in front of the building. Confused, I wondered what was happening. Then, I learned they were there for me. The accusations, all made by a white woman who not only made up those false claims, but conveniently left out the one thing she had said to me before. You'll never marry me because I'm white. That part was conveniently omitted in her story, and it was the unspoken truth behind why I found myself arrested for the first time in my life, being handcuffed and taken to jail for no legitimate reason, on a day that was supposed to be meaningful, left a mark on me that I'll never forget. The same white woman stood before the judge with what she claimed were bruises she had gotten from me. Her entire family was present in the courtroom, ready to validate whatever accusations she had brought forward. I scanned the room. The jury was entirely white, my lawyer was white, and the only exception was the judge, an Asian woman who happened to be the same judge from Derek Chauvin's trial in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after the murder of George Floyd. I thought to myself, this can't be happening. This can't be the first time I joined the chorus of so many black voices across America saying, I don't like whites. I sat there, waiting patiently for the photo to be displayed on the screen for everyone in the courtroom to see. When the image finally appeared, I was stunned. It was the most horrifying picture I'd ever seen. The woman in the photo was severely beaten, her entire face unrecognizable, her eyes covered in blood. It was a grotesque image of violence, one that couldn't be further from reality. As a young black man, surrounded by white jurors and spectators, I could feel the weight of their judgment in their stares. They looked at me like I was a monster, capable of such unspeakable brutality. I thought to myself, God, forgive me. This white bitch must be sick or mentally unstable to do this to herself. It was at that moment I realized the magnitude of what was happening. This wasn't just an attack on me. It was an attack on black men everywhere. This woman wasn't just attempting to ruin my life. She was perpetuating a stereotype, pinning a false narrative on every black man in America. I became defensive, overwhelmed with anger and disbelief, and stood up in the courtroom. I said, I need the photo or video from the day of my arrest. That will prove my point since this white judge of mine isn't saying anything. I demanded. That moment marked the first time my perspective shifted, the first time I used the word white to separate myself and my race from others. I insisted on those tapes and videos being used as evidence, because I had no choice but to represent myself. This case could have put me behind bars for many years, despite my clean record, or sent the wrong message about me as a young, rising activist, businessman, and entertainer. I need those tapes or videos right now, I declared. That demand redirected the case to where it needed to be. Then, a white female officer took the stand and made a bold statement that changed the atmosphere in the courtroom. She said, This picture isn't what I saw when I spoke with the young lady. I was the one gathering her complaints, and at that time, there were no bruises, no injuries. Nothing close to what's shown in this photo. I watched as she began crying uncontrollably in the courtroom. Overwhelmed, I stood up and shouted, This is some racist shit happening in this courtroom. This white woman is trying to pin a false crime on a black man who isn't a criminal that I don't want her, and I will never marry her. I rest my case. I left the courthouse that day with a single, resolute thought. I don't like white people.